안녕하세요, 여러분. Welcome to All Things Korean. In today's video, I'm going to teach you two ways to say almost in Korean. Now, if you look up almost in the English-Korean dictionary, the Korean translation you're going to get is 거의. And this is one of the ways to say almost, but I'm going to teach you another expression that also translates to almost, but is used in a slightly different context or situation. So two expressions we're going to learn today. Let's head on with the first one. So obviously the first one that we're going to learn is 거의. This is the one that you see in the dictionary. And just a quick tip on pronunciation, the characters are 거 and 의, but you don't need to pronounce the 의 so specifically. You can just pronounce it as 거의 and it's okay. Now this is an adverb that means almost. It's pretty straightforward. So following this 거의 is a state or a status, and this whole expression means that it is not quite at that state. It's nearly there, but not quite yet. And I think the easiest way to understand this is by looking at a bunch of examples, which is what we're going to do. So the first example, 제 친구는 거의 매일 술을 마셔요. So 거의 매일, almost every day. My friend drinks almost every day. The next example is 우리 회사에는 여자가 거의 없어요. So 거의 없다, it means there's almost none. So almost no women. This in English can be translated into barely. So there are barely any women at my company. Now, let me just say that common words that follow 거의 are 다, so 거의 다, almost all, or 거의 something something 하지 않다, or 거의 없다, or 거의 something something 못하다. So any kind of negative, in which case in English it would translate to barely or like hardly ever. So any type of like extreme state, and then you use 거의 to say it's almost like that, but not quite. To illustrate what I just said was the previous example, 여자가 거의 없어요, so hardly any women. Let's look at a few more examples. 저는 영어를 거의 못해요. So 영어를 못해요, I can't speak English, but 거의 못해요 means I almost can't. So I barely speak any English. I speak very, very little English is what this sentence would mean. 영어를 거의 못해요. Let's look at other examples that don't use negatives. 거의 다 왔어요. So I'm almost there. So when you're meeting up with a friend, they're asking you where you are, you can say 거의 다 왔어. 거의 다 왔어. I'm almost there. It's interesting though, 왔어 is coming, not actually going. So, it might be a bit confusing to say 거의 다 왔어 when you're not actually there, but that's what we say in Korean. 거의 다 왔어요. 거의 다 왔어. Another example, 거의 끝났어요. It's almost finished. 거의 끝났어요. Let's use another example with 다. 거의 다 먹었어요. This can be open to interpretation actually, depending on the context. So 거의 다 먹었어요 can either mean there's a bunch of food and I've eaten almost all of it, or 거의 다 먹었어요 can also mean I'm almost finished eating. Like not necessarily like the quantity of the food, but the action of eating. I'm almost full, or my time is up, or whatever. I'm just gonna stop eating soon. I'm almost done. So it can mean, different things. It all depends on context. And our last example for 거의, 거의 10년 만에 돌아왔어요. So I've returned after almost 10 years. So not quite 10 years, but almost there. So as you can see, 거의 is pretty straightforward in that it means almost, and what follows after is some sort of, another adverb or adjective or something like that. Now, the second expression we're going to learn today also means almost, but it's used in a very, very specific situation. And the expression we're going to learn is 을 뻔하다 or 을 뻔했어요. This expression is only used when something almost happened but didn't. So this sentence is, I think, exclusively used in the past tense. So you can't use this expression for something in the future or something that's happening right now. It's something that almost happened but did not. It's already established. So we're gonna learn this in the past tense. 을 뻔했어요. Now, this expression is added after a verb. If the verb has a 받침, or if it ends in a consonant sound, you conjugate it with 을 뻔했어요. So 먹다, 먹을 뻔했어요. I almost ate it, but I didn't. 죽다, to die. This one also has a 받침. It has a consonant ending. You would conjugate it as 죽을 뻔했어요. 죽을 뻔했어요. I almost died. And if the verb does not have a 받침, if it ends in a vowel sound, then it's 을 뻔했어요. You just add the 리을 as the 받침 and then add 뻔했어요. So for example, 넘어지다. So 넘어지다. If you take out the 다, the 치 does not have a 받침, so you conjugate it as 넘어질 뻔했어요. I almost fell. I almost fell, but I did not ultimately fall. Let's look at a couple more examples. 눈물이 날 뻔했어요. So 눈물이 나다, for tears to form. So I nearly cried. I almost cried, but I didn't quite cry. 눈물이 날 뻔했어요. Another example. 수업 시간에 잠들 뻔했어요. So 수업 시간에 during class, 잠들 뻔했어요. 잠들다 is to fall asleep. So I almost fell asleep, but I didn't. And that's all for this video. Just to recap, 을 뻔했어요 is an expression that you use for something that almost happened, but ultimately did not happen, and it's something that you conjugate in the past tense. 거의 is a bit more broader and general. It just means that something is almost at a certain state, but not quite. And I should also add that this 거의 can be conjugated in all the different tenses. It's not just restricted to the past tense like the 을 뻔했어요 grammar. Alright, thank you for watching. If you made it this far to the video, how about I give you a couple of sentences to practice with? You can leave the Korean sentence in the comment section below. I'll give you 3 sentences to practice with. If you liked or enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to All Things Korean for more Korean language related videos. And as always, I will see you in the next one. 다음 영상에서 만나요.